Welcome to the first ever true playoff edition of Back to the Bullpen. That's right. We're going to cover the ALDS, the NLDS. We're going to talk about the drama between the Padres.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen. Oh, yeah.
That's right. We are back to the bullpen. And you know what? It looks like the Padres aren't using a lot of their bullpen. Their starters are doing really well. Yu Darvish, we'll talk about him tonight. We're going to get into a little bit of the drama, and Mike knows about that drama. Mike, tell us where they can find you on social media.
There's only one place, and that's on X. It's Mike Stanton 29. And I like the intro right there. You were so excited about getting this done. You didn't even get yourself finished before you hit the button to do the intro song.
I know. Well, actually what it was, because I've got to hit live on Instagram for it to go live. And I forgot to mute the Instagram feed. So I was echoing myself. Yes, you're right. I was so excited.
So excited,
man.
Yeah, this playoffs has gotten not that the Dodgers and Padres really need it to be any more spicy, because these teams truly do not like each other. They've played each other so much. It's one of those situations that the Dodgers are the high and mighty. The Padres are the stepchild. They're the ones that are always in second place looking up at the Dodgers. Well, I'll tell you what, the Dodgers, they may be in trouble because the Padres are very good, and they broke out the whooping sticks tonight. And they got spicy between the two dugouts also, and the fan base. So, this is going to be fun.
There is no shortage of storylines when it comes to Padres and Dodgers.
Right.
And I can tell you that I know that Tatis, he loves to talk smack. He was sitting there making faces at the fans.
Yep.
And I mean, he does it. He's one of those personalities. He's one of those guys in the dugout. You're like, there's Fernando starting crap again. And Machado has always really kind of had this big man bravado, always thought more highly than himself than I think everybody in the room. So he's never lacked an ego or, I guess charisma. Charisma can be good, can be bad. But this team, from the veterans that I just mentioned to Jackson Merrill, to Yu Darvish, who's 38. Dylan Cease kind of got lit up last night, but you still have him. And next start, he's probably going to have a good game if the Dodgers can advance. If the Padres can advance, if they can beat the Dodgers, this Padres team, we talked about them during the regular season, Mike. They're dangerous. Luis Ariz, Xander Bogaerts hit a home run with a pulled muscle or a hamstring. I don't know what happened with him, but he still hits a home run at the plate. This team simply just gets it done.
Yeah, and what makes this team so dangerous, and this team we're talking about are the Padres, and we saw this when the Astros were out there in September on the West Coast. They can pitch their rear ends off, and Yu Darvish was outstanding. He had the Dodgers lineup stymied all night long, only threw 82 pitches going through 7 innings. He could have gone back out. Tell you the truth, he should have gone back out and go ahead and finish them off. And the problem with the Dodgers has been all season, even though they win baseball games in the regular season, what was their postseason rotation going to look like? But the Padres, man, these guys are good. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. Like I said, they've always been the stepchild. They're the Mets to the Yankees. They're the White Sox to the Cubs. They're the A's to the Giants. And so, you look at how this all happened, and the first thing I saw was, they go back and forth. The
Right.
Padres have a bunch of guys. You said a couple of their names. Manny Machado's one of them. Tatis is messing with the fans in right field. Bogarts is messing with the fans in left field. When you go back and forth with the fans, there's always the possibility of it escalating. And I've been involved in some of these type situations where fans finally get fed up, or they have enough adult beverage inside them that they start throwing things on the field. I've been on this a couple times where, the umpires had to take players off the field because it was dangerous. We had one time in Seattle when I was with the Yankees that they gave away some kind of commemorative ball or something like that.
Right.
And there were hundreds and hundreds of balls on the field. They said stop the game for like 15 minutes because they had to clear the field of all the baseballs. That had something to do with the Yankees. I think we were winning. There was a bad call or something from the umpires, and it just, all hell broke loose. It's kind of the same thing happened here. And you saw the umpires during that break that Schultz did exactly what he should have done. He's got to go out there and make sure that his players are safe.
Right.
You heard on a couple different times the announcers there at Dodger Stadium, telling people you can't throw things on the field. You will be kicked out. You may be arrested. But you saw the umpires kind of getting on. It was Bogarts in particular that listen, don't egg them on. Don't talk to them. And that's exactly what they do. You kind of encourage, Major League Baseball encourages interaction with the fans. But when you're the opponent, it may not be the best situation, especially when you're kicking the living crap out of the home team. And,
right.
It was just one of those things. But it all started earlier in the game with Jack Flaherty and Manny Machado going at each other. Not just during the game, it was actually in between innings after Flaherty got kicked out, I got taken out of the game from the dugout. So it was. This is not, like I said, not that this isn't already a good series just between two very good baseball teams. This bad boy just got a lot more spicy, and now we have to see what the Padres fans, how they're going to react to the Dodgers after this good old butt whooping that the Dodgers took tonight by the Padres.
The friendly confines of Petco Field. Like, you think of the name like that, it'd be all nice and warm and fuzzy. And, they're probably ticked off. I've actually never been inside the stadium, but I've driven around the stadium in San Diego. I've been there for a conference for work, years ago. And man, that thing is that stadium is crammed in the middle of that town.
It is.
Of that city, just like Lone Depot Field down in Miami. It's literally like
I haven't been to Miami, but I've played in Petco, and it's a nice ballpark. It is, it's in the Inner Harbor there. It's, it's quaint. It's not small. I don't want to make it sound
but there's it's literally right across the street is our buildings. It is. Even
part of the field itself, down the left field line, there's a brick building of some kind of, I can't remember what the company is, but it's actually part of the stadium. So this is going to be fun. I mean, it really is. And you have the other game today, the Mets and the Phillies. My gosh, they're going toe to toe. There was no pitching at all in that game. It seemed like every other inning they were going back and forth. And the same thing happened last night in that game.
Yeah,
the Phillies ended up coming back, but the Mets seem like they really have something special going on, just simply because they are the cardiac kids, man. They are scoring runs. They did it against the Brewers. Coming back, scoring 4 runs against Devin Williams. I mean, they were getting dirt kicked on them. They were done. The Brewers are moving on, and then they drop a freaking 4 spot late in the game against Devin Williams and his filthy changeup. So Yeah, there's a couple really good National League series going on, but I think the offense really overshadowed. I think what was the big key today for the Padres, and that was Darvish.
Yeah,
Darvish
100%.
was outstanding. If you call the fastball, 2-seam fastball and 4-seam fastball different pitches, he threw 7 different pitches tonight. And a lot of times when he does that, it kind of actually, it sounds like, oh my gosh, the hitters have so much to think about. That's true. But sometimes he has a tough time throwing strikes with all those pitches.
Right, exactly.
And the Dodgers are going to look back and they're going to kick themselves in the rear end just simply because in the second inning, they had bases loaded, nobody out, down by 3, and they only scored 1 run. That was the ball game. If they can scratch another run or 2 across, you have no idea how long Darvish is going to go. You don't know if he's going to stay in the groove because starting in the 3rd inning, they just didn't do a whole lot of damage. Wasn't a whole lot of swing and miss. He only had 8 in the 82 pitches he threw with 3 strikeouts, but there was a lot of weak contact.
Well, I believe, and I don't know how long it's been. I don't know how far back, but he hasn't gone more than 5 innings. I think most of the season. That is Darvish. And, you're talking about this just the ruckus and the rivalry between these two. I've seen throughout my life watching baseball different times where fans get in the mix with the players. And I don't know, do you remember Spike Owen?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
University
Spike
of Texas.
Owen. Well, so Spike Owen was playing with, I believe, the Expos at the time.
Okay.
And the Astros and the Expos were playing each other. And I believe it was the Expos. And a fan was yelling at him in the batter's box. And he basically pulled the fan out of the stands in the Astrodome. This is before all the nettings and netting.
Right.
And he didn't do anything to him. The guy was just drunk.
Right.
And Spike Owen just pulled him out of the stand. I remember seeing that as a kid going, holy crap, like a baseball player put his hands on a fan and
there was a game. I can't remember who the team was, but they were in Oakland, and basically the whole bullpen. People, if you don't remember the Coliseum in Oakland, the bullpen, you sit on a bench up against the right field wall. You have a small little roof that comes over the top of you. But the fans are literally, you got knees that are within like 2 feet right behind you. You are in
like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that was back in the day.
Right.
Back in the day, that's how, especially the multi-use stadium, the cookie cutter stadiums, that's how it was done. The bullpens were just on the field. And I remember they threw one of the guys threw a chair into the stands, and they actually went up. The players actually went up and stand. You're not going to do that now. That's just not going to happen.
Do you remember the guy that how did I forget his name? Played for the Astros, center fielder, traded him to Cleveland. That's how we got Matan and Yainer Diaz.
Miles Straw.
Yeah, Miles Straw. When he was in, was it in, I think it was in Yankee Stadium or it was in Cleveland, where he climbed the fence to get in the face of the fans. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if you want to do that. I
don't think it was Yankee Stadium, because there's, the way Yankee Stadium. Yeah, it must have been somewhere else. But come on, Yankee fans, they can't be tough on the opponents.
No, they're not. I mean, Mike, you would know all about that. Oh, by the way, Mike, I actually met someone, one of the content creators at the home run derby that we were at. And, he was like, yeah, I met Mike Stanton. I'm a Yankees fan. He was the reliable lefty that came in. Like, if you needed something done, here comes Mike Stanton. And it seemed like every single game, like that dude pitched, he goes, I don't think he had a day off. So your legend.
Not many.
Definitely high.
That was one of the things I prided myself in, was I could pitch every day. A few times there was time I shouldn't have, but yeah.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good. And I mean, maybe we need to get pitchers back to that. Pitching more often.
Yeah.
But this is Shohei Ohtani's first postseason, and I mean, we've got to talk about it. His first at bat, the guy hits a 3-run home run. Just, burst onto the scene. And for Dodgers fans, if the Dodgers don't move on past the NLDS, it's going to be like, I wonder if it's going to be the manager's last season with the Dodgers, because they have, outside of 2020, they have disappointed in the postseason. They haven't advanced very far.
Yeah.
They haven't given themselves a chance. We haven't really talked about Ohtani because he's only been hitting this year. This is his first playoff series ever because he was in Anaheim. So what are your thoughts on Shohei, the show they call him? Ohtani?
Yeah. Listen, you get to the playoffs, the scouting reports on the other side are you people don't really grasp how much information. I mean, even back when I started, where all the scouting reports came from actually scouts, guys sitting in the stands taking notes, and
right.
There would be the advanced scouts would be traveling around, especially the teams that were going to be in the postseason. I mean, the advanced scouts may have followed a team for up to a month and watched every game, just traveled along with them, taking notes, trying to get tendencies, stuff like that. Well, now it's up not even tenfold, it's 100-fold, 1,000-fold, whatever the amount of information,
and they all have
guys get. But there's also guys that you put the asterisk beside the name and say, okay, this is the guy I'm not going to let beat me. Well, Shohei's one of those dudes. Now, you make a mistake, you can still hammer the ball, but it's the thing about baseball is that you can't it's not one guy. A lot of times your MVPs of the series are usually the lesser known guys, because you bear down so hard on the top and the middle of the lineup that you get RBI opportunities for guys that you don't usually have those big opportunities. But Shohei's a stud. We know he's gonna be the National League MVP, and well deserved. Francisco Lindor will get some votes, but they're probably mostly going to be second place votes, and he'll get second. And if he didn't go on the IL, maybe you could have made an argument, but he went on the IL late in the season.
100%.
And then Shohei goes 50-50. I mean, there's just, and he's also, by the way, he's also going to be the very first DH to win an MVP.
Wow.
We've never had an MVP that
not
wasn't
even David Ortiz.
Player.
I mean, all the great years that Ortiz, Big Papi had.
Right.
But hey,
so
here's the deal.
He's a stud. Now, let's go. Hold on. You brought up Dave Roberts and the Dodgers about how this may be his last hurrah if they don't go deep in the playoffs. And there's always that chance. But I can't blame Dave Roberts, because the organization is what's putting everything together.
Well, that's true.
They're the ones. They're the ones. I still, to this day, think one of the big reasons why the Dodgers lost to the Astros in 2017 was because they took Rich Hill out in Game 2 in like the 4th inning. We've talked about this before, that I think that was the turning point, because the Astros were not going to touch Rich Hill. He was filthy that day. Now, he had walked a couple guys, and I think the Astros had one scratch hit or something like that. It was nothing. But they started running relievers out there. The game, the series ends up going deep. 6-7 games, and all of a sudden everybody, it doesn't matter how good your stuff is, everybody can suffer from overexposure. And that's what happened to the Dodgers bullpen. And they got tired because they were being used so much. But that was the theory in which the Dodgers organization, over the last decade has always been. They're not going to let their starting pitchers go more than twice through a lineup, even if they're dealing. You remember Max Scherzer a couple of years ago got all pissed off because he got taken out in the 5th inning. You go, what? I'm a future, now he didn't say this, but I'm a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Why are you taking me out? Well, that's the way it works. That's why they took Rich Hill out, and they ended up paying the price for that. But that's a organizational theory. That's not just on Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts just happens to be the dude at the end of the dugout that has to, make all those moves. So, and this Dodgers team, even though they did win more than any other team, more games than any other team in Major League Baseball this year, they have flaws, and their starting rotation is not set up for long postseason run.
They are battling injuries. I looked up the UCL injuries for the year. I just looked up injuries on Fangraphs.
Yeah.
And I was shocked how many
They have
players.
so many
It
pitchers.
is
So many
unreal.
pitchers on
You
the
know,
IL.
Musgrove is not even in the playoffs this year because of his UCL.
Yeah. Well, I think he's getting Tommy John. That just
Yeah.
came out just recently.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I guess the reason why I say that is because I do hear a lot of Dodgers fans clamoring for, you know, we need to advance.
Well,
and all
listen,
this
it's
stuff,
and the Dodgers fans aren't any different than any other fans. And when you're a team that you go in, the dirtiest word in Major League Baseball is expectations. They
Yeah.
go in every year with expectations, and when you fall short, then yeah, heads have to roll, figuratively, and that's and so, you know, that's what the fan base says. But you know, that's the fanatic side of being a fan and having to deal with those frustrations that come from expectations.
Now, that's a perfect segue because now you can be a fan of our show and you can get your own Back to the Bullpen shirt from Random Shirts. There's a QR code. Now, once you're on the website, you can also get one of these shirts if you don't want to root for the Tigers or the Dodgers or whoever's in the playoffs. Heck, you could be a Blue Jays fan listening to us and you don't want to root for anybody. Ram Shirts has got you covered. Look at this. I hope both teams lose. So that is a great shirt. And it's actually 15% off. I'm going to put my order in tonight. I'm going to actually order it. I'm not going to ask Mark to send me one for free. I'm literally going to buy this shirt. I mean, I'm going to show that again. I hope
There it
both
is.
teams lose. That is a great shirt you can
So
wear.
Brett's going to go through the cobwebs known in his wallet and bust out the $20.
Oh, no, hold up.
There it is. Oh, he's got greenbacks, man.
It's greenbacks right there. Yep. They're hiding for a special occasion, like when Mark makes a great shirt at Ram Shirts.
I know what they're really hiding for. Girl
No.
Scout cookies.
Oh,
You're waiting for Girl Scout cookies.
I
I know I
didn't
do.
know
I got a stash.
I didn't know where that was going. I was like, at least they're not singles. Anyways,
That's
I
right.
digress. So go to ramshirts.com.
Your mother is watching, by the way.
Oh yeah. Hey, I
Mom.
don't think my mom will ask me what that means, and I'll have to tell her probably. I'm an idiot. But hey, listen, if you need help getting ready for I don't know, maybe your kids are going to prom, maybe they're, you know, homecoming's already over with, maybe you got a job interview, you just got to get cleaned up. State-of-the-art barbershop, 1616 South Friendswood Drive. Ever Cruising Company is there to get you with all your needs. It's like men and women haircuts, it like beard trims, everything.
Yeah.
So go check them out. So check them out. Check out Ram Shirts. Get the new shirt. Get your Back to the Bullpen shirt. You know, Mike, I actually met some people this weekend that listened to the show. They said they love the show, and so it's always great to hear from the people that stay town that tune into us every day.
Right.
I'm sitting here looking at a comment from a mom making sure. Look at that. Become a subscriber. Back to the Bullpen. It's worth it. That's right. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate it. She is. And Mr. Rashad said he wants a H-Town Wheelhouse bobblehead the day. Okay. Well, look, I can make one and send it to you, but I'll have to tell you the price off air because it won't be cheap. But this right now is one of one. Mike,
There it is.
You never reacted. I made one that looked like you. Did you see it?
I got busy and didn't get to text you about that. But yes, I saw that.
I was like, we should do that. And I got no response.
I think it was in I think you had me in a coat and tie, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, because you're like, you're always like dressed up when you're on Space City. And I mean, you're a professional. And so I remember we did it was like my second year teaching, and the Astros were in the playoffs. And I think it was when they were playing the Royals. It was the 2015 when they really, I mean, if they could have hung in there, I think they could have beat the Royals, probably gone to the World Series that year. They were really good in 15. They had just caught fire. Young Springer, all these guys. And my principal was real adamant about you gotta wear professional dress. We're doing like this guy's coming in to speak to us. We want to look professional. Well, like everybody's literally like, do we wear a suit and tie? And I'm like, I'm not wearing a tie. I'm not Like it's training. I'll wear maybe a collared shirt. So I wore an Astros jersey. I just got a new one. And he goes, Coach Chansey, I thought we were going to dress professionally. I said, I'm a professional baseball player.
There you go.
He just turned around and walked off. He couldn't argue with it.
Was it Halloween?
No, it was just I didn't want to dress up. So at least I was professional.
I can sympathize with you there. Now, I think we do need to get back on track, and let's talk about the earlier game today, which was the Phillies and the Mets.
Man, what a game.
My gosh, what a freaking slugfest this is turning into.
Yeah.
The Mets had them buried.
No, they did.
Severino was dealing and inside 3 pitches. He had already struck out. This is Luis Severino pitching for the Mets. He had already struck out Bryce Harper twice with high fastballs. Everybody knew it was coming, and he didn't get it up. Bryce Harper crushes the ball to center for a 2-run home run, and then 2 pitches later hangs a slider to Nick Castellanos, and he puts it in the seats. It's tied up. Then it goes back and forth and back and forth. And game 1 was the same way.
Yeah.
So both National League divisional series split 1-1, and they got tomorrow off. There'll be a travel day. Not that either one of them have to go very far. They have actually both go about the same distance.
Exactly.
And just one goes south, one goes north. But man, both of these series, I'm not sure where they're going, but I'll tell you that I said a little while ago, I think the Mets really have something special going on. They keep coming back late in the games, but the Phillies, man, they have got some power. When you make a mistake to them, they are hammering the baseball. Citi Field, though, Citi Field can be a tough place. Those New York fans, they're going to be loud and boisterous, just like it was in Philly at Citizens Bank Park.
Well, it's interesting. Alonso's hitting 176, but he's hit 2 opposite field home runs, 1 in each of the first 2 games. So if he gets the power of Citi Field behind him, and they get that OMG thing going with, I mean, that place. Okay, so you were with the New York Yankees for several years.
I was with the Mets too.
The Mets, well, but how many years did you pitch with the Mets though?
2
years.
Seasons.
Okay. So is there a difference in feeling?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Especially back then, Yankees, we had won so much. There was a confidence and a cockiness that came along with being a Yankees fan or playing for the Yankees. And then, the problem we had in 2003 and 2004, the 2 years I was with the Mets, was just what we were just talking about, expectations. We had a lot of veterans on the team. We had a lot of guys that the back of their baseball card looked very, very good. But we just didn't perform. And so expectations were high. And what comes with that is the hard fall and the frustrations of the fan base. And, they were hard on us, but you know what? We deserved it. We were supposed to be better, and we just weren't. I mean, we had Bo Vaughn at first, Robbie Alomar Jr. at short, at second. I mean, we had some dude. Piazza was behind the dish. Our pitching staff was, Tom Glavine, Al Leiter, had Johnny Franco, Armando Benitez, myself, David Weathers. I mean, we had like 150 years of baseball experience.
David Weathers, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Stormy Weathers, yeah.
Wow.
So we had some real veterans, but we just didn't perform.
So
especially back then, it was different. Now it's probably a little different, just simply because the Yankees haven't won, I think, since 2009.
Yeah.
And, the Mets, it could still be difficult, but the way they played the second half.
Well,
Citi Field's going to be rocking and rolling because this team has played so well in the second half.
Well, the way the Mets started out this year, they didn't start out as poorly as the Astros did, but I don't know that
they hit the skids. They hit the skids in the first half in the middle of the season. Then they just, a lot like the Astros did, they just slowly got things right, and they got hot at the right time.
And, Francisco Lindor is I think I don't know if he's underappreciated. I know he's not talked about a lot. And I think it may be because he's on the Mets. No offense to Mets fans.
Right.
But I think if he was on a different team like the Yankees or the Dodgers, I just Lindor to me has come into his own. He's matured. He's a leader. I like the way he plays the game. I think, I think he deserves at least 1 or 2 first place votes in the MVP race. I'm not saying he deserves it.
And I don't, he may get some, especially from, people in the Northeast that gets to see him, because he's the type of guy. The problem is you don't get the fanfare with Francisco Lindor.
True.
I do feel like that if he hadn't gotten hurt with the back injury and had to go on the IL late, I think he probably would have got more love. But Shohei just got so much fanfare. The first 50-50 player, everything that he's done, it's been an absolutely amazing year. And he deserves it. But I think that you have to watch Francisco on a daily basis to see the value, because he put up good numbers. He didn't put up numbers like Shohei did. But you know what? Francisco Lindor has always been that way, because he was, he actually carried a higher batting average in the American League when he was with Cleveland. But it's one of those things that, when you have to watch somebody every single day, well, nobody does that except fans and the people that cover the team every single day. So he had the bad year. The first year in New York. And, he got beat up for that. But since then, he has been very good. Now, he hasn't been, an elite caliber player. But, when you look at the total package, the guy is as good as any shortstop in the league, and do anything you want. And he does it with a great smile. I mean, great personality.
He is. Mr. Smile, I think is what he goes by on social media. But to wrap up the talk about the Mets and Phillies, is Castellanos today was voted MLB Player of the Game and Fan Player of the Game. 3 for 5, a home run, 2 RBI, and 2 runs. Now, there's one of my favorite things that I love to see on MLB, especially they have it on Baseball Savant, is win probability added, WPA. And Castellanos's win probability added was 70.6. I haven't seen it that high in a while. I mean, that just goes to show that this guy is a difference maker. He is one of these. He's a good guy in the game, and he walk-off single. It wasn't a home run, but it was a single. That's all they needed, and they end up splitting the series. Which, if the Phillies would have gone down 0-2 going into Citi Field, wow, you're on the brink.
Yeah, they're going to be in trouble. Yeah, they would be in trouble. There's no doubt. But where is this series going to go? I don't know, because both of these teams, I mean, it is a slugfest. They just sat there and traded blows, punching each other in the mouth, and just kept going at it. It was so much fun. Not a whole lot of relief pitching. Now, so that kind of gets me. That'll make me have some nightmares. But I'll tell you what, it's entertaining at its core. Now, the Yankees and the Royals. Okay.
Yes.
The Royals.
I thought the Royals were going to beat them. I thought the Royals had this.
I'll tell you what, even once the Yankees came back, and, they came back, how did they come back? They came back because the Royals couldn't throw a strike. They walked the tying run in the middle of the game. The Yankees end up going up, getting 6 runs, but the Royals made a game of it. That was a 6-5 game. I mean, the Royals are a very good team, and they can really pitch well also. The question is going to be, can they score the runs? But you look at the Royals offense mixed with the, there's the Yankees have a couple guys, and Judge didn't do anything yesterday, but Judge is going to. You get a couple of their main guys out, and Judge being one of them, they're not going to have a really easy time scoring runs, because the Royals have such a good pitching staff. So I think that series is far from over.
Well, right, and they have Juan Soto who had 3 hits on the night.
Juan Soto,
You know,
Judge,
and
Glaber,
Verdugo.
a couple of
So
those guys.
Verdugo was the star of the game
Yeah.
offensively. He got player of the game, but you also had Oswaldo Cabrera contributed. You had Austin Wells contributed. Jazz Chisholm contributed. So, Aaron Judge 3 strikeouts. He has a lot of strikeouts in the postseason. I know when the Astros face him, I'm like, yeah, he's probably going to strike out. Like the Astros tend to have his number a lot. But if the Yankees don't sign, and I want to ask you about this before we move on to the Guards and the Tigers, I think if the Yankees don't sign Juan Soto, my only question is why. Like,
I've been saying this
like
since since he became a Yankee, since he put on the pinstripes, that this is a match that was made in baseball heaven. Okay. I think one of the reasons why Juan Soto, just had a good year, especially for other players, but kind of a middle of the road year when he was at the Padres, is because I think it was because he was with the Padres. That he's a guy, he is a big lights guy. He likes the limelight. He likes to be in the middle of things. And the way he started the season was amazing. He had a really good season this year. So I think that this, the Yankees love to have big name flamboyant players, which Judge is a big name player, but he's not flamboyant. He's the modern day Derek Jeter.
He puts his head down and plays.
The camera comes on. He's going to say the cliches. He's not going to say anything controversial. There's not going to be a whole lot of emotion on the field where Juan Soto is just dripping with swag. And, but yeah, I think that this is meant to be. Now it's going to cost the Astros. It's going to cost the Yankees, no doubt. But I think that I agree with you. I think that this was a move. This is a perfect match. It's just a matter if they can come up with the number.
Yeah, I think it starts at 500 million. I mean, I think it's going to be that much.
The numbers are so outrageous.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Let's talk about that, because I actually talked to a former player, I guess about 6 or 7 years ago, but a guy who played in the 60s and 70s. Mm-hmm. And I didn't say anything about money. Someone came into the conversation with us. There's a guy named Bob Lee, pitched for the Angels.
Okay.
And someone came in and said, boy, he's like, I bet you can't believe what these ball players are making. And this old guy, he just started cussing. He was he was like, let me tell you what we did. We played more than them. We didn't go, oh, my wrist hurts, I'm out of the game. Like, he was this old timer. I mean, he's got some records with the Angels. Bob Lee was a good guy. He passed away, I guess about 2.5, 3 years ago. But it was so funny listening to him talk about. He's like, yeah, they just make too much damn money.
They make a lot. But, one of the things we have the Players Association is, one of the jobs of the veteran player is to make sure that the young players know what the players in the past went through to get them to this point. And, because you're seeing a very young generation of Major League Baseball players. They've kind of over the last 5 or 6 years, they've pushed a lot of the older players. They pushed them out. And so it's a job that the Players Association takes very, very seriously about making sure that the current player knows what the trials and tribulations that the Players Association and all the previous players went through, whether it's free agency, arbitration, all the above, to know that, to appreciate what you have at this time. And listen, we all went through it. Heck, the salaries went through the roof just when I started playing. I came up in 1989, and by 10 years later, salaries had gone through the roof. I think. Oh yeah. At one point during the early 90s, the Braves didn't want their payroll to go over $36 million. That's for the whole team. And now you see where it is now. And I'm
Wow.
not one of those guys. Listen, if you can get it, more power to you, brother.
Yeah.
But
No, and that's
it's just the state of the industry.
so, we kind of buried the lead, maybe subconsciously, because the Tigers beat the Astros and buried, the team we cheer for the most right now. But the Tigers went with the bullpen game. They felt
Yep.
like Scooble was not ready to start game one. Excuse me. And I think if Scooble can go out and do what he did against the Astros, the Tigers can even the series up and go back to Detroit, and there's no telling what happens. Mike, if they get out of the divisional series, I think a 7-game series is a lot different animal for them to tackle because of the lack of starting pitching that they're dealing with right now.
Well, I think even a 5-game series, it's probably going to be too much. Them getting through the 2-game series, they had arrested Tarek Skubal going against the Astros. He absolutely shoved, especially early in the game. And then in a 3-game series, we said it before that you have a bad 24 hours, and you're booking the reservations for the vacation. You're in the off season. But even a 5-game series, I think that it's going to be a little. There's just not enough depth for AJ Hinch and the Tigers, and the Guardians have played very well. Did they play over their skis? Well, they're there. It doesn't matter what you think about their roster, and they do have one of the best players in Major League Baseball in Jose Ramirez. You want to talk about underrated? Holy shnikes! No one talks about how good this dude is. Hit 39 home runs and was 1 home run away from a 40-40 season.
I saw that.
And no one knows about that from Jose Ramirez.
Well, and third basemen typically don't do that. That's not a –
they're not big stolen bases.
They don't steal – I mean, and that guy is a baller. When he decided to stay in Cleveland, it made sense. It's like when, Altuve – in Houston, Judge in New York.
Sure.
I mean, you just have your players that when you say their name, you know where they're from.
Yeah.
And that to me, Jose Ramirez. And look, they've got really good hitters. Quan, they've got Naylor. They've got really good pitchers. They've got one of the best back end bullpens. They got one of the nasty.
Class A. Oh my goodness.
Class A is a nasty, nasty closer. So, the Guardians, they could, man.
They're going to be. It doesn't matter who they're going to play, other than the Tigers. They're going to be an underdog. Okay, and you know what? That's fine with them. They've got no problem. I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers have always done this in the National League Central. Just keep winning. Just keep winning baseball games, and you guys keep talking about the Cubs and the Cardinals and everybody else, and we'll just sit back here and when we play you guys, we'll beat your butts. So they're going to be the underdog, which is fine. But they're a good team. There's no doubt about it. But I just don't think that AJ has the depth in the rotation, even though the bullpen's good. But even in a 5-game series, I think the bullpen is going to get exposed. Now, this off day that they had today absolutely helps them. That gives Skubal another day. There's no way he's going to be able to come back and maybe pitch a game 5. But, when you got that dude, you can chalk up a win because he is just so incredibly good with power stuff.
No, he is. And when he came up, and that's what's always tough, I think, for these pitchers when they have so much expectation.
There's that dirty word again.
There you go. Well, I mean, look, case in point, we saw it at this random home run derby challenge. They had this kid named Cord, who's a senior in high school, 6'5" in the home run derby. He looked like he was 28. And he's a senior in high school.
He does.
And he was hitting tanks, and the expectations on a kid like that. And to kind of wrap it up, Jackson Merrill, this kid for the Padres. The Padres set a postseason record for them, 6 home runs.
Yeah.
He was the youngest Padre to hit a home run in a postseason.
20.
He was, yeah. Well,
He's
he's
20.
21. He
Oh,
20
yes,
when
he's
he,
21.
yeah. He came up at 20, so he was the youngest
There
Padre
you
to
go.
play. And so you have all these, like Jackson Merrill's just out there having fun. The kid looks loose. He hit an opposite field ball that was really off the plate, but he watched the ball hit the bat. He stayed in, he stayed down. He was locked in on that at bat. And
Yeah.
so I think it's going to be neat to see some of these young stars that are on some of these teams as well, not just the veterans.
Yeah, listen, this is it's unfortunate that we're not talking about the Astros,
100%.
but you know what? The way that this divisional series, all these series have started, and how competitive these games have been, and some of the spice that we've seen, this is going to be fun. And hopefully, we're going to get this for the next couple weeks. And I hope every series goes to the max, 5-game, 7-game series, because as soon as we run out of the World Series, yeah, we're in the off season. We have to wait till spring training.
Well, but we have to wait there. And I think there's going to be, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of movement at the winter meetings, but we got the winter meeting to look forward to. And so we'll just have to, look, we'll try to get a pulse on some things. I talked to some different people at the event last night. We're going to be bringing on some guests this off season, hopefully. And so just stay tuned to Back to the Bullpen, because we'll have more content for you.
We're going to be here.
Yep. That's right. We will be here through the playoffs, through the World Series. That'll be fun to talk about. So make sure y'all subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get your Back to the Bullpen shirt from Ram Shirts. Get your haircut with Ever and Company. And just make sure that you tell people, hey, you know what? You got to go back to the bullpen. And they say,
That's
what?
it.
You've got to subscribe. Go to iHeartRadio, listen to us. Check us out. That's all we have for now. Thank you so much, and y'all have a good one.
Adios.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat a low in the way you can't hit it. You know you wanna start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walk it back, looking like we ain't cool.